Close. Beep-bop, boop, beep-bop. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, dogs, cats, droids, non-binaries, aliens from another dimension, iron people, football players. It is Thursday night. Thank you so much for joining us here on this Centennial celebration of Lights Thunder Action. We will be on very shortly to discuss D23 Expo with our good buddy, co-producer, co-founder of this podcast here, David Thompson. And we will have Leah Elizabeth and the Klein Felt on later to discuss She-Hulk episode 5. Episode 100. LightsThunderAction. We did it, kids. We'll see you after the jump. Welcome to
LTA with
TCR
and JRB.
This is where the fun begins.
You're just not thinking fourth dimensional.
Slowest.
Peter 3.
Num num.
I'm vengeance.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yup. I love you guys.
Hold on to your butts.
If we find out you have personalized license plates, you die.
Dude, I almost had you.
To that I say, all right.
Good evening. It is September 15th, 2022, and it is time for your Thursday night pick-me-up, where two Thunder buddies dive into all things Marvel, DC, pop culture, IP, and the latest happenings in the film industry.
Episode 100 of LTA. Thank you for unmuting me. It is episode 100 of Lights, Thunder, Action. So Thomas and I are going to be joined by a host of special guests who are going to help us talk about She-Hulk. They're going to help us talk about D23 and everything we found out there. And we're also going to celebrate getting to 100 episodes on this show. And we might even talk about the canceled Star Wars movie Rogue Squadron, if Thomas can keep himself together. But before we get to all of that, Thomas, where can everybody find our 100th episode of LTA?
Yes, we are live beaming directly into your homes and phones via our Lights Thunder Action Facebook and the HWWS WebTV channel on Twitter and YouTube. All of those links can be found at Linktr.com/LightsThunderAction. All one word, no hyphens, no spaces. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow to view the live version of our show where you can interact with us. But if you don't want to look at our beautiful bearded faces, but you love to hear our beautiful bearded voices,
then you can find our beautiful voices on Apple Podcasts, Good Pod, and Spotify. Follow and subscribe on those platforms while you're there. Be sure to like and subscribe and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy. And ask us a question in that review, and we'll bring it right here on the show and answer it for you.
JRB, you brought the suit out, buddy.
I brought the suit. I had to match my little guy down in the corner there.
You know, for the first time ever, we're doing that.
We're actually doing it. You know, Tom Drew, if you really want to get specific, Tom Drew made this happen because he is the one that designed our little characters. Mm-hmm. And what are the odds that we both had the exact outfit that he drew us out to have?
It's magical. I can't say I'm wearing blue jeans because it's Florida, but I am wearing something underneath. Just beware. I know you can only see from
we can imagine. We can imagine from the waist down.
Well, that's you know, it's a PG-13 show, but you know where the hammer lies, in Asgard. Come on, guys. You thought it was going somewhere else. You took that the wrong way, phrasing. Let's go ahead, and we got to celebrate episode 100, the Centennial celebration, by bringing on none other than one half of the original co-hosts, 1/3 of the producing, I don't even know, math, man, David, the drippiest teacher, Thompson.
Thank you guys. It's really surreal of being back. I don't think I've been on. Have I been on since JR started? I'm not sure. Maybe
I don't think so.
I don't think so, though.
I don't think you have.
I've been
ever since I took your spot. You haven't come back.
I have not, and I have been an avid watcher on YouTube. Typically, that's my preferred streaming method for LTA. See that pop up on the notification, click, see where you guys are at in the episode. It's always a fun time. pretty surreal. I will say, like, just kind of the rundown at the beginning, because I do want to just start off today by saying, like, obviously me and Thomas founded the show back in March of 2020, which was when everything was shut down. We were bored. We didn't have work to go to together anymore. I was wrapping up my college career, and we were like, you know what? We talked about these kinds of topics all the time, and we want to start the podcast. And we were like, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it now, because there was nothing else better to do. And I'm just so congratulations, guys. Congratulations to everyone involved. Congratulations to all the guests we're going to talk about as well. Just making it to 100 episodes. There's been ups, there's been downs. There's been like so much that's happened with the show. And I'm so glad that it has prevailed through when it started this little nexus idea with me and Thomas. Like, I mean, this was before the direct really was a thing. I wasn't at the direct yet. It's just so cool, like, now how much, meeting you, JR, having you now be a co-host, it's like so cool to see. And I'm just so proud of what the show is, how it's still running, how it's still thriving, and just such a fun time. Like, this is just, I know I'm here right now, but when I'm not here, guys, like, tune in. This is such a fun show. That's how me and Thomas always, imagined it. And God, I think hopefully you guys go down less rabbit holes than we used to, because me and Thomas used to just we had to dig ourselves out of rabbit holes for like 45 minutes.
We try so hard to get back on track. Yeah. It doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Dominic Monaghan,
Yeah, it is what it is. But I'm very happy to be here. I'm very excited to be here. It's crazy that I haven't been back since you started, JR, and I'm just really happy and excited to talk with you fellas. Like, this is just such an exciting opportunity for me, because it's been a while talking to you two just about all these topics, talking about, D23, Marvel, all this good stuff. So thanks for having me. Very excited to be here. Excited to be back. Episode 100. So happy we made it.
Who'd have think,
man?
So
like,
awesome.
So
look at us.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it,
Yeah.
Not me, I gotta echo that, there was hard to believe we actually made it to 100 episodes. I didn't think we'd make it past 20, David. I was certain he would have left me after like episode 5, and he's like, man, this guy it's just like 5 a.m. except it's taking 4 hours now, and we're not getting paid for it. So, I'm always so thankful that we started this and that you agreed to do this right off the jump. And we turned into a live show. It was originally just a podcast. And then on week 3, we do a live convention, which was also a telethon, raising money for the COVID relief at the time. And week 3, we became a live show because we enjoyed it so much and had friends hanging out in the comments. And what a great segue. Mama Irizarry is here with us saying congratulations with 100. I would cheers you with my beer if I had one. I should have. I'm slacking. Terry McIver, another great friend and producer on this show, says when 100 episodes you reach, you look as good. You will not. Thunder Buddies for life. That's right. I should have wore the shirt, but it's okay. And then he also says, these things can go off without segueing. I don't think so.
It literally doesn't happen.
Yeah, right.
It really doesn't.
I do want to say it is cool. Oh, sorry, Thomas. I was just going to say one thing about the live stream part is that I feel like we kind of fell in love with the idea of live streaming, where we thought, that makes the show different. That made it more fun. It gave us a different energy, right? And I think so when we did that, just kind of dial things back, like, over 2 years now. It's interesting because when we did that, telethon, we had like an hour block. It was such a cool thing. We jump in, talking to people, talking about like Power Rangers, and we had a bunch of people in the comments, and we're like, this is so fun, right? Like, this is like such a fun experience than just like, I love talking to you, Thomas, but a little more fun than just us talking to each other for 2 hours, right? There was like more interactive elements. And I think, shout out to everyone throughout episodes 1 through 100 now that have tuned in and been there. Like Terry, you've been here for so much of it, and like locked in and, helping us, like keep the show going, keep that excitement happening. And it's so cool because that, I think, and I'm glad you guys still have like stuck to what, this is as a live show, because for me, it's like, even just the name LightsThunderAction, like that kind of insinuates we are live, right? This is a show, less of a like podcast that drops at 6 a.m, right? You know, like you wake up to a podcast. This is more like, hey, it's the evening time. Tune in. We're having fun. And I still love how that's such an element of the show and something that I always enjoyed about it. And I'm happy. I'm happy we made that decision, right? Because I feel like that gave us that kind of showmanship that both of us, I think, enjoy of like knowing that someone is on the other end besides just one another. So, yeah, it's fun being back. I'm excited to dive into whatever we're talking about today. I have no notes. I have no idea. Just throw them at me. I'm here for information.
Would you like the notes?
No, I don't want the notes. Nope.
It's deep 2-3.
I'm not diving into the notes. Just hit me with it. I am a guest. Just throw the ideas at me.
Yeah, so we're still a live show, and now is probably the best time to say that after we finish She-Hulk and House of the Dragon, when those seasons wrap up, it'll be back to back. We are going to not be every week. Actually, we have so much going on that we're gonna have to dial it back and basically become a special event show where we recap a whole season, or we review a movie, or dive into something specific we want. It'll be a little bit less structured for sure, which is great. It's not like we don't get wrapped up in 35 tangents in 20 minutes or anything. So,
I think this is it works better this way, because when you have shows like Miss Marvel or Moon Knight that are so intricate and nuanced, it really does take the whole season of that mini series for us to really have a good grasp of the idea that it tries to portray and what it consists of. So going week to week on shows like that, either a lot of times the themes are so similar week to week, or you don't have any clear idea of what's going on until the last couple episodes, that some of these things don't make sense to talk about on a weekly basis. And since that's what we are more geared towards now, being able to talk about it in a more condensed capacity where everything's together. Oh man, look at the Thunder Buddies t-shirt, dude. LightsThunderAction.
That's right. Had to break it out.
OG logo. That predates the season 3 logos we've got on the screen here. That is classic vintage.
Made by none other than the
That's
drippiest teacher.
This is my one and only attempt at anything Photoshop, whatever. This is mine.
Grand slam.
Wow.
March 2020 creation right there.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Throwback. Well, really quick, we just want to thank all of our guests before we dive right in. We made a list. We checked it twice. If we missed you, I'm sorry. I was a dick and I'm not nice. Just like Jen Walters, I am going to throw myself under the bus. That's what makes this show great. Thank you to Bill Sadler, Klein Felt, Leah Elizabeth, Beth Ann Tarpley, Jack Hughes, Liam Crowley, Derek Diamond, Matt Rimke, Julia Delbell, Rodney Fike, Monty Michael Moore, Ethan Simi, Josh Bauer, Tom Drew, Ryan Permerson, Kevin Budasing, T. Rob Brown, Richard Nebbins, and Alicia Marie. And if I forgot you, I am so damn sorry. Angry tweet me and I will include you in the next one, because we love you. We love all of our guests. But after 100 episodes in 2.5 years, I'm not going to lie, I don't remember what I had for dinner 3 nights ago. So there's that. Speaking of Derek Diamond, he's here in the comments with us. Congrats on hitting 100 episodes. Thank you so much. Good brother. We will, man, I love working with that guy. I can't even explain how many times I've seen him in the last few weeks. Go ahead and dive right on into deep to D23. That's what I meant to say. JRB.
Yes, sir.
We have about 40-ish minutes before David's got to get out of here. I'm gonna let you take us through a recap of D23.
Okay, so first of all, I think the thing we'll get out of the way first is the trailers we didn't see, and there were 4 main ones. And David, I want to know if any of these stuck out to you, or if you think we need to know more info before we can get too excited. But so the first one is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We had a trailer drop at San Diego Comic-Con a month or 2 back, and it never was released online. We thought it was a little too early, so D23 seemed like the spot where we would find it.
Yeah.
They did show more footage at D23, but they still didn't release it online.
Right.
And this movie is less than half a year away now, I believe.
February.
Yeah. Based on the footage description And based on what we've seen at SDCC, what do you think that we can expect from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? What do you think the hype level is high enough right now for a movie like that, an Ant-Man 3 that's supposed to be so pivotal to phases 5 and 6, or do you think that they need to start showing the general public more about this movie?
Yeah, interesting question. I think I have two answers. Personally, I think based on the descriptions and the Kang of it all, like Jonathan Majors being a main character, asking, like, he's like, I'm an Avenger, and it's like, have I killed you before? Right? Just those little cold lines. Amazing. That just an expansion of what we got in the finale of Loki. The other end of that is for the general public. I do believe it will be time soon. I think it will happen. I think it'll drop before sometime next month is my guess, before Black Panther, so it can play before that. Maybe before Black Adam, so it can play before that next movie. But right now,
that'd be nice.
When you talk about like general moviegoers, it's such a dead zone for the box office right now. There is nothing to go see. There's no one really packing the theater right now to like have a nice new shiny Marvel Studios trailer. Most of us watch them online now, but there's still that idea, I think, with the studios of like having it play before a movie that a lot of people are going to go see, pretty much like in front of a lot of eyes. So my hype level is expanding. There was some recent research by the Quorum. David Heron is kind of the guy who runs that, and basically he has some analytics. And Ant-Man and the Wasp, it basically tracks like interest level and awareness, and he basically does research, conducts surveys and stuff. And the Marvels on both fronts was higher than Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I think was kind of surprising to me, where Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel made a ton of money, but there's still that like level of interest higher than right now in Ant-Man 3. So I think there is maybe some, and this is coming off Miss Marvel, right, which is a direct connection, which could lead to some of that. But I do think they do have some heavy lifting to do in order to get people excited. But right now, Marvel Studios has proven and shown their strategy a little bit, showed their hand that they're not going to rush into dropping trailers just because fans want them immediately. They're going to wait until it's good and ready, right? Even Thor: Love and Thunder, that was such a short window from their first trailer until the release. We could see it similar here. Right now, they're focused on She-Hulk, and they're going to be focused on Black Panther very, very soon. Then they'll get the Ant-Man. But my guess is the teaser drops in October, gets us hype. We see it before Black Panther in theaters, and the elevation will be there because Kang just being present, my guess is it'll be very similar to the footage shown at SDCC and D23, and seeing Kang there, understanding that Kang Dynasty is a movie happening, will get people excited to go out to the theater, check it out.
I like that. So you think that they're going to be okay, despite not having seen anything yet? Ant-Man 3 is still going to do well. Thomas, Ant-Man movies have notably been pretty comedic, pretty lighthearted, and they perform decently at the box office, poorly for an MCU movie. Do you agree with David? Do you think that this movie has any extra heavy lifting to do, or do you think that Quantumania is going to turn a new leaf for the Ant-Man franchise?
Bit of both. Honestly, I definitely think that whenever the
bit of both,
bit of both. Why not?
I like that. I like it. We want it all.
I want it all. I want Kang, and I think once they show Jonathan Majors as Kang, the hype level for the general public is going to shoot up. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I talk to people about like, oh yeah, Ant-Man 3 Quantumania is going to be dope. And like, another one? And I'm like, no, guys, Kang is coming. And they're like, who? And I'm like, did you watch Loki? Yeah, He Who Remains, but his other variant. And they go, oh, okay. And I can tell they're lost.
Right.
But when they see him and they have that understanding of who he is, and I have zero doubts about the trailer and what it's going to do, but I hope they sprinkle in a little bit of He Who Remains footage in there. It's like,
just for familiarity.
Just for familiarity, just to have it. I just watched that episode last night. I was feeling it. I've read like 50 Kang comics in the last 3 days, so like I'm deep in Kang right now.
50?
Something like that. I mean, I don't know. I lost count. I just kept reading, so I couldn't even actually tell you. It just disappears after you've read the series. It just continues the series. But yeah, I've read so many, and once they reveal that and they reveal the time travel and the nature of it all, I think it's gonna really pull people in, especially when they reveal that Scott needs to do a heist for Kang in the quantum realm. or he won't get his daughter Cassie back. That's what they revealed in this new footage here. I believe it was Discussing Film that mentioned it. And so it's very exciting that, okay, that's the plot of this.
Yeah.
He's got to do a heist for Kang, the bad guy, which then means and opens up the wormhole in the variant mirror situation that we're going to see more Kang in this movie.
Right. Yeah. So that's a good point. Kang is going to be a major gauge for how hype people are going to get for this movie. And I think, the first season of Loki is going to help out with that a lot. So Ant-Man 3, although we still haven't seen anything, the people that are seeing it at these conventions are responding well to it. And the description seems really cool. The other trailers that were shown, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, more new footage. We see more developments about that pretty much every day now. But Ironheart and the Marvels also both had first looks in there. It seems like it's still too early to tell if Ironheart is going to be anything substantial. It seemed like from the footage description, it was pretty much just some thrown together of what they already had done. But the Marvels seemed a lot more solid. We have a basic plot understanding now that it's going to be about Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Tiana Paris's character, Monica Rambeau, right? And every time they use their powers, they're essentially going to swap places.
Oh, yeah.
And so, although we didn't get any footage for that, just the idea of it sounds really cool and unique. And when you combine that with the rumblings that this might be a musical, the Marvels is shaping up to be something super unique and interesting for the MCU. David, do you have any expectations, or were you surprised by anything we did hear about the Marvels at D23, or do you think it's just more noise right now?
Yeah, no, I got me extra excited, I would say, because that idea, I think, will be it will make it feel more lighthearted. I think one thing about Captain Marvel, I didn't love the movie. I thought Brie Larson was fine, but it wasn't something that really stuck to me. I didn't have a wonderful time in the theater. And I think what this is doing is it's upping the fun for this franchise with the idea of them using their powers and jumping, right? Like switching each other's spots, which we saw in Miss Marvel. Now we understand a little bit. Okay, apparently the movie's going to pick up almost like right there. Great idea. Love that. And I just love the idea that what my prediction is with this is that throughout the movie, like at the beginning, it's going to be confusing, right? It's going to be, oh, what's happening? This is not helping us. And my guess is by the end, it's going to be because they learn how to work together. It's going to be their advantage, and they're going to use it in super dope, cool ways, a la like throwing the lightsaber to Ben at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, right? And maybe a little shrug, right? So that would be sick. Anyway.
Yeah, right? Did you just get a lightsaber out of nowhere?
Brie Larson's just like, oh. Yeah.
You're right. No, it definitely promises some really interesting elements. Leah Jones in the chat saying, how have I not heard the rumors that this is going to be a musical? Just to clarify,
I'd like
part
to ask
musical.
that too.
Part musical. I don't think it's going to fully be like a musical, but it's going to have a musical element to it. Where
I was gonna say, I think not quite like Joker 2 musical,
right?
But
right. But we'll have like I think the rumor is like they'll visit some sort of planet, and that whole segment will be like musical based elements or something. But nevertheless, it's going to have a lot more weird stuff that Marvel has not tried before, and I think this was the first time we got a real taste of that. So D23, although it wasn't super unique in the announcements that it made, it did reveal some pretty cool stuff coming up. Klein Felt of the Direct put together a list of 8 of the best MCU announcements from D23. I just want to rattle through those really quickly, and then we can come back and touch on whichever ones you want to cover. But I do want to make sure we get this full list in. Starting at number 8 was Tim Blake Nelson returns for Captain America 4, a.k.a. the leader from The Incredible Hulk. Right as we start She-Hulk, all of a sudden he's confirmed to show up in a big Avenger movie. Captain America. So on top of the rumors that MODOK will be appearing, now we know the main villain is the leader. Number 7 is Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are confirmed to reunite in Daredevil Born Again. And Vincent D'Onofrio was also shown with the full cast of Echo. Number 6 was the Israeli superhero Sabra. joins Captain America 4. So on top of confirming the leader, we also have a new superhero from Israel, which kind of builds on what we were starting to do with Moon Knight, where we have heroes from the other side of the Atlantic, which is, I think, amazing, especially after how well received Scarlet Scarab was in Moon Knight. That was her name, right?
Yes.
Yep.
That was awesome. Number 5 is Werewolf by Night was unveiled. Number 4 was, I never say his name right, but Ke Huy Quan from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
And Indiana Jones, he's going to be in the second season of Loki. I think that might have been number 1 for me. That was an awesome announcement. That was a good surprise. Number 3 is something we all suspected because of the rumors for the past few weeks. Matt Shakman is confirmed to direct the Fantastic Four movie, albeit that was the only news we got, which I was a little sad about. Number 2 was the Secret Invasion trailer. For whatever reason, I wasn't expecting to see that yet. So I'm really excited to talk about that one. And number 1 for Klein Felt at the direct was the Thunderbolts team full reveal. So they revealed all 7 members of the Thunderbolts for the MCU. So starting with number 8 going down, David, of the things we just mentioned, what are you most excited about coming to the MCU here?
Yeah, I'll be honest, kind of a twist on your question is what I'm most excited about in the MCU, could be different than what elevated my excitement for a certain project, right?
Like, okay, yeah, I think I like that better. So are you saying that you went into D23 with certain expectations and then D23 flipped it for you for certain projects?
Correct.
And made you, okay, awesome. Then what raised your hype the most? What was lowest on your list?
Secret Invasion trailer. For me, I don't know what it was, but I mentioned just a minute ago, Captain Marvel wasn't my favorite movie. The Skrulls to me were well done in the context of the film, meaning, they weren't like evil. There was like a twist there. Getting now kind of seemingly evil Skrulls and just Samuel L. Jackson being the anchor of the MCU and forging on, right? This show and as well as the Marvels, like Nick Fury is still here. He's still active. The cinematography looked great. Like it just looked beautiful. It looked better than I would say other Disney Plus shows have. Not entirely. Like it's a very like general statement, but it looked very cinematic, a la an Andor, right? It looked cinematic. It looked like they're marketing it as an event series, and I got those vibes when it was just speculation and photos and Amelia Clark's in it, cool. Actually seeing it in action to me rose that way up my anticipation list, way up my hype rankings. I'm now super excited and looking forward to Secret Invasion. Whereas the rest of the announcements, I would say, Thunderbolts was one thing. That got me excited, right? And there's a lot to dive into with that announcement. I would say there's a lot to discuss. The roster, how it's all going to work, the dynamics. But for Secret Invasion, I had just no expectation because I wasn't sure what it was going to look like, feel like, be like. And the trailer really upped my excitement. And now I can't wait for it, right? It's arguably I'm more excited for that than Ant-Man. And they come out, I believe around the same time. Spring next year will be February, and then spring, I think, for Secret Invasion. So, God, I can't wait for that show now.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's going to be like a character study of Nick Fury while also being like this weird, like thrilling, like almost kind of eerie vibe to it. Like it's definitely going to keep you on your toes the entire series. And I love that they're being creative with how they're using the Skrulls, and you have one person and then a dozen Skrulls imitating that one person in a room. I love that it's not just as simple as, I'm not who you thought I was. It's the way that they're going to maneuver seems a lot more unique. And this first trailer really kind of put me off, like at first, where it just felt like I said, eerie. It just kind of had that feeling to it. Thomas, the Secret Invasion trailer, did it kind of move you the same way? Are you looking forward to this series, or do you think it's going to be one that is not going to be as interesting?
Oh no, I was always like interested in it. I wanted to know more about it, obviously, but good Lord, did that trailer, like every time I've seen the description of the last, was it Comic-Con footage? I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing. But seeing it and feeling it, see, it's all about feeling. It's just like Star Wars. It's all about the feeling of a trailer and of a show. You feel the tone, you see the tone, you experience it. This show is gonna be wild. I love the diving into Nick Fury aspect that we're gonna get. I love the feeling of like, you don't know who is a Skrull and who is not a Skrull. Yep. And it really is making me look back at every project we've seen so far and question, like that informant in WandaVision. Was it a Skrull? Like, these are questions we now have to ask. There's a lot of like, go back and look vibes about this show. And seeing,
I think it's going to uncover a lot more than we're expecting.
Yes, and they're billing it as a crossover event, a crossover series. So that's going to be really exciting to see how they handle that, especially considering like we've not really seen that many true crossovers happen since Endgame.
And they haven't labeled a Disney Plus series a crossover event until this show. So we don't even know what a MCU crossover in that format looks like. This is going to be completely new territory. This could very well be the Disney Plus version of like an Avengers movie.
And that is kind of where I'm leading, like in my mind. That's what it feels like when watching. It's focusing on all the stuff we know about, but it's also really hiding a lot. And when is it supposed to be coming out? Does anyone?
Spring 23.
There's a reason they dropped the trailer when they did, and I'm very excited to see why. And I'm wondering if we get some Skrull revelations here in She-Hulk.
See, that's the interesting part is this is much further away than other Marvel projects. And the fact that we got to see it this early, it just feels like they're setting a certain expectation really early on. Mm-hmm. So we'll have that idea going into it, similar with other series they've done. And I think that's the perfect way to manage it. I'm really excited to see how they'll handle the marketing campaign for this show.
Yeah.
Same. Not different at all, honestly. I really want to talk shortly about Halloween, the greatest night of all time. Werewolf by Night is coming out October 7th. It's real. It's so real. We've been talking about it. It's been hinted at. It's been believed for a while. And it's finally here. It's all black and white. It looks spooky, like spooky, like a little scary, and then a little bit fun, and then kind of sad, and then like spooky scary, like spooky fun. It's looking exciting. But it's coming out October 7th, which just means they're releasing good content around my birthday. And as David knows, I have been screwed over for so many years with good movies and shows coming out on or around my birthday. I mean, the Batman was supposed to be the 30th birthday for me. Could you imagine what life would have been like if 30-year-old Thomas had the Batman? Like, that would have been crazy.
That was a bummer. I think that was the biggest atrocity with your birthday.
Very much so. It's the biggest one ever. Not even considering whatever might have happened in the past. The snake in my face. Thanks, sis. Batman. No Batman trumps all that pain. So I'm really excited for that. Practical effects. Really, really exciting to see that. And then the cast just looks fantastic. There's a Skrull in that trailer. They're freaking everywhere, man.
Oh yeah.
Also, a TVA member, I believe, was shown as well, like a little snuck in there.
They're standing in the back. That last shot of the girl in the cage, as you see the shadow of the werewolf transformation. Mm-hmm. There's a couple guards standing by the door. They look a lot like the TVA agents from Loki's first season. It'll be weird to see how this actually connects to the MCU, because they also announced a multiverse ride at Disneyland, and Werewolf by Night and Man-Thing that were both in this trailer also both appear in the concept art for that. Mm-hmm. And so they do have plans to use these characters. Like it's not going to be a one-off special event like they're marketing it. These characters will still remain in the background of the MCU, and it'll be really interesting to see like where they'll show up next. Like, I think it could be more than just Blade or Moon Knight. I'd like to see, the like a modern take on these, like how we saw Miss Marvel do like a spoof of all these characters. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see if they're going to break out a Man-Thing practical effect at Disney at Avengers Campus,
Ooh,
because these are
wow.
coming out. These are coming out prime time to have those characters out during Halloween season over
Oh,
there.
that's a great point. And they just revealed like an 8-foot like animatronic Hulk for one of their rides.
Yeah.
Dang, that's a
So-
great idea. They could totally do that because they add characters to the attractions like as soon as a new project drops. Like I think Miss Marvel was at the Disneyland park the day Miss Marvel premiered. So it's pretty cool how they like to line that stuff up.
Yeah.
Synergy. Now we all really want to talk about Thunderbolts, right? Am I wrong in
I
that
think we all
assumption?
need to talk about Thunderbolts.
Yeah, it's the big one.
That is,
It's
I want
the
the
big
big one.
kahuna.
Yeah, we got the whole Thunderbolts cast revealed to us at D23. I think the most surprising part was that we didn't have maybe not the most surprising, but Abomination wasn't in it. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, like I think it's just how often people have been talking about him. I really thought the MCU Thunderbolts was going to have Abomination in it. Am I the only one that felt that way?
I mean, you're not. It's, honestly, especially right now, because we have
Right.
Abomination back in the MCU. Like, why wouldn't he be? And here's the thing. I don't think that this necessarily rules him out because this is the hero team. You know, we still don't know there you go. We still don't know the context of what the movie's going to even be about. But I mean, looking left to right, Val, Ghost, and I think there's a clear, even the way they're lined up, there's a clear like hierarchy between, you know, who's going to be leading the group and also like who fans like. Ghost, Red Guardian, David Harbour returning to the MCU, Yelena Florence Pugh, which was just recently kind of like reported that she was going to have her basically leading her own Marvel movie, which is what this is clearly. Bucky, which I wrote the article on for the direct.com and got the tidbit early. And I'm like, no shit. Bucky's going to be a Thunderbolt. Like, that's wild. U.S. Agent, which I am very excited. Wyatt Russell returned to the MCU. Thomas knows. I really enjoyed that character's introduction to the MCU. Underrated, very hated, but in like the best way. And I know people, go on about the finale and his kind of like half-assed, I don't know what you want to call it, basically like resurgence or redemption. I don't care. That character was really good. I'm excited to see him again. And then Taskmaster, which is the big, I would say kind of the big splotch on the team in many fans' eyes, because it's not the original.
You're not wrong.
It's not like Taskmaster as you'd imagine him in like a Spider-Man PS4 game, right?
Right.
It's not Tony Masters. It is, I believe the character's name is, what's the character's name? It's Dreykov's daughter, basically. I forget exactly the character's name.
It's Antonia Dreykov. I think they just changed Tony to Antonia.
Yeah, exactly. And it will be interesting. Matt Remke of the Direct Podcast, who I do the show with, he made a good point where, she basically got Black Widow-ified at the end of the movie. So this could be a whole new character with the same, abilities. And
we don't even know her personality.
Right. Maybe we have no idea. She's not going to be that scared woman behind the mask, which I think gets me a little bit excited. But they do have some groundwork to do, I think, in marketing to show us that maybe she's spunky now. Maybe she's got this edge to her.
Maybe she's got like these Deadpool vibes now, because she's like kind of like a victim, sort of like he is,
Yeah. And Ghost, I don't remember the actress's name, but Ghost and Ant-Man
Hannah Jo
2.
Kidman.
Yeah,
or
okay.
Joe Kidman.
For Ghost?
Yeah, Hannah Jo Kidman, I think.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. She's got charisma. I think she could mix well, because what I really want, and I'm not running the show here, but I want to hear you guys' opinions. Like, who do you guys think? What interaction are you most excited for?
Oh man,
I think this is like a great question, because this is going to be the MCU. I hate kind of this comparison, like Suicide Squad, quote unquote, but I say that in the sense that you get excited for the interaction, the inner team relationships. I'll start. I think Yelena and Bucky are going to get it on, man. I am locked in to whatever the ship name is for Yucky. There it is. Yucky. Calling it here
Yucky.
first.
Hashtag
Okay.
yucky.
Hashtag
Okay.
yucky is
I was
a
gonna go
thing.
Belena.
It's gonna be real. Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan, come on, you're printing money. So I'm all in on that. What are you guys excited for? What interactions are you
Man.
excited for? I mean, we have 3 Black Widow characters returning,
Yeah.
2 Falcon the Winter
Wow.
Soldier, and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Really quick, going off of what you just said, it creates a fun little triangle because mine was Bucky and Red Guardian. I fought Captain America. No, you didn't. Like, that's a great situation just set up right there because you know Bucky's gonna hate everybody there. He's
Right.
gonna absolutely hate his life.
Yep.
And the line that was said on stage was, and somehow the Winter Soldier is gonna be the most stable of them all. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane. If you
Yeah.
watch Falcon and Winter Soldier and you know that guy's the most stable, okay, he's getting there. Cool. That means he's the old guy mentor on the team, quite literally the oldest one there at like 100 and whatever, 120 years old at this point. And I love the idea that Bucky and a Black Widow are finally going to get together, like what happened in the comics after he was Captain America. But that
good
was
call.
Scarlett Johansson. But I'm really excited for Red Guardian and Bucky to go back and forth and just like share all these war stories because they're the only two that kind of might get along, especially when you consider like it's gonna be fun because he's like, I'm a super soldier, but I'm also Russian. That's gonna be super awesome for not triggered Bucky to handle, right? Don't need to be reminded of any red stars on his left arm at any point in time. So it's going to be really fun to see how they interact. And then, of course, we know that Bucky's going to hate John Walker. I mean, look at him. He's behind him in this photo. He's like, get away from me.
Yeah, you're right. Bucky definitely doesn't want to be there. I think the most enticing like dynamic here is actually the group as a whole, because when you look at each of their stories, they've all been misused or mistreated by whichever organization they work for, whether it was willing or not. Like, these people are all victims in one way or another. And up until this point, all of these characters more or less have had to deal with that on their own, and they haven't had anyone who can share that experience with them. And now you're putting them all together. So this is probably going to be like a giant firecracker at first when you put all of them in a room. But by the end of this movie, it's probably going to be a really strong bond that this team shares, because they all have super similar experiences. And if you look at them, I mean, look at Ghost and Taskmaster. They look like they were made from the same design almost. Like the similarities that they share. I mean, literally 50% of this team has the super soldier serum in them. So like they're all so similar, but yet, like you guys are saying, their personalities are so different that it's going to be so enjoyable to see them break down those barriers together and form that alliance that they'll need, by the third act in the movie. I think the way that they've set each of these characters up, it's going to provide a really entertaining way to build these bonds that by the end of the movie, we're going to be, shipping Yelena and Bucky, or we're going to say, oh, Ghost and Taskmaster are besties now. I think that this movie is going to result in some really, really strong ties that the MCU can lean on for the next couple phases.
Yeah, and speaking of strong, these are mainly super soldiers, if you think about it that way. Like there's the inner character dynamic, and then also the let's sit back, turn off our brains, get a Diet Coke and a popcorn dynamic of what does the action look like? I think it's gonna be pretty badass, pretty thumping characters. Ghost, in a way, has the most unique, skill set, or whatever you want to call it, like power set. Taskmaster obviously has.
Taskmaster will be able to copy it in a way too, so it'll be interesting to see that as well.
Won't be able to.
Probably not the actual, phase shifting, but it'll be interesting to see Ghost finally meet her match in a certain way, because Taskmaster's only had to fight widows at this point.
True. That's true. I
like
curious.
what you're saying. I like it.
Yeah, I just think it'll be interesting, like Yelena expanding her power set to more, obviously she's like a, kind of the new Black Widow, quote unquote. And then just, I'll be honest, my favorite parts, two of my favorite parts of Black Widow are in Thunderbolts, Red Guardian and Yelena. Their interaction, like their relationship is already developed and interesting. And just a lot of humor, right? You can tell the show's going to be funny. Sebastian Stan, very dry as Bucky, right? And then there's just going to be a lot of comedic moments. I think I can't imagine this walking out of this movie come next or not next. What? Yeah, 2024 July,
something like that.
Yeah, I believe 2024 July. Walking out of that theater and being like, that wasn't a fun time, right? This movie's bound to be fun. It'll be interesting to see how they put all this together. I'm almost surprised this far away, just a little less than 2 years away, that they're already just like, boom, here's the team,
Right.
Mhm.
It was kind of out of nowhere. It was, in my opinion, the big reveal from that D23 panel. This was it.
Yeah, I think adding context.
I wonder if that's because they didn't have something else to show us. What do you think about that?
Maybe. That's a good point. I think one thing that's being because we get so caught up in like what they did give us is what they did not. Right? There wasn't any really big cast rumors or announcements, I should say, for Fantastic Four. And to me, what was surprising was no Deadpool. I felt Deadpool seemed like a home run, kind of knock it out of the park, winning the weekend. And Marvel still won D23 in my mind, even though I'll be honest, Little Mermaid might have, Ariel might have won the weekend. To be honest.
Really?
Oh yeah,
dude, that got the biggest
I
pop
feel
out
that.
of me.
when
When I saw that trailer, I'm like, holy shit! Like this is gonna
beautiful.
be awesome. It just
does.
looks
It looks-
awesome. The singing. I always want to call her Halle Berry. What's the
It's
It's
so
Haley.
it's like Halle Bailey. Yeah.
Halle Berry.
Yeah, it's anyway. The actress that's playing Ariel, like, just looks awesome, gorgeous voice. She sung at like Thursday night last week for the football game. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is already great. So, but back to the point, I thought a Deadpool 3 announcement or something of the like, bring Ryan Reynolds out. The replacement for me, I think, was seeing Vincent D'Onofrio, which is one of the higher on the list. We just mentioned in the Klein article. Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox out on stage. If you've seen the video, it's like, oh, we want to talk about my series, your series, right? And then Charlie Cox walks out. It's like, oh, I would have loved him in the building for that. So that got a big pop out of me. But you're right, nothing really shockingly new, I guess, besides the Thunderbolts team, because that was new information. We just got that there's even going to be a Thunderbolts movie confirmed, and now we immediately kind of a few months later, the next time for a big panel, big announcement, we get the roster. So I agree. I do wish we'd maybe gotten a couple of other announcements that were more tied to, say, Phase 6, right? Even like a Wonder Man. There's so many rumors about that, like Ben Kingsley coming back for it, and nothing official in that area. But there's still so much time. I kind of think in a way it's ironic because before San Diego Comic-Con, there was so much talk that they were going to save a lot for D23, and they definitely gave us more at Comic-Con. Like, looking back now,
overall.
a little days removed now from D23. They've definitely, they gave us the slate. They laid out how this saga is going to go. Like, that is way more significant than filling in the gaps, which is really what they did at D23. But I digress. It's all great. It's all cake and icing at this point. Thomas knows. After No Way Home, man, whatever. That was the pinnacle of comic book cinema.
Yes.
2022 doesn't even matter.
All the rest is gravy. I'm just living life, having a great time.
I gotta, before we jump off the Thunderbolts of it all, again, I'm super excited for, Red Guardian. Like, so you're trying to date my daughter. It's gonna be fun. Do we think that this was just to tide people over? Because Kevin Feige said we're not going to talk about who's on the Thunderbolts team because we haven't met all of them yet. Do we feel like this is actually the team, or this is just the beginning of that team?
I'll jump on that. Could be. I actually hope that we do have additional members, because that would get me a little more excited for like what this could be. It's like, I'm trying to think of a good, comparison. It's like when you're like a set team in football and you're going into free agency. It's like, these are our returners, right? Okay. Our returners are these 6 or whatever it is. These are the guys who are coming back. They're already re-signed. Now, who are the free agents we don't know about yet, right? Like, who are the people that Val hasn't quite recruited yet that'll join in? I do think it won't grow much because they have to stop at a certain point to have those dynamics, unless it's like the Suicide Squad and they just kill off a few at the beginning at the beginning, or a couple die. So
That's
that would
not
be
a bad
interesting.
idea, actually. You could be right
Yeah.
about that. That might be the only reason Alexi's here.
I was gonna say, no, I was gonna say, imagine like Taskmaster gets shot through the face in like the first scene.
There, you happy?
Yeah, right. It's like, yeah,
It is interesting though. You're right, because we've known all of these characters for at least a year now. So for him to say we haven't met all of them yet doesn't really line up with this picture here. So, and that what you mentioned about announcing the spot for Thunderbolts at San Diego Comic-Con and then announcing the roster at D23, that's what a lot of fans expected them to do with Fantastic Four. And so that's why I think that this might have happened, because they're not ready to give us that Fantastic Four news yet. They kind of glossed over that, confirmed Matt Shakman as the director, and then moved on to the next thing. Didn't really spend much time on that at all, despite how much anticipation there was around it. So they kind of rushed their way to this announcement. And this one was so out of left field that everyone was super excited about it. And for a moment, it did feel like they gave us something huge. But looking back on it, we did kind of expect most of these characters to end up in a spot like this. So it's interesting to see what new elements this movie will bring in terms of like the MCU stuff we haven't seen yet.
I do think one thing, they are treading lightly seemingly on phase 6. This is the end of phase 5. And I feel like there is a strategy going in of like, let's kind of make that the cutoff point, right? Like we will get the Fantastic Four because that is Marvel's first family. That is a huge piece of IP that we're introducing to this universe. So we're going to talk about that more, similar to the Avengers, right? Those are the big ones. Thunderbolts is like where phase 5 ends. And then we got more information about the leader and New World Order, which, newsflash, very interconnected characters here, and they come out 2 months apart. So I'll be damned if the post-credit scene of New World Order is not directly related to this movie. Like, that seems like a home run at this point. It's 2 months apart.
Oh, you mean like the leader being on the Thunderbolts?
Or some sort of. I'm curious how that ends too, right? Like, if he's the main antagonist of that movie, where does he go? And you know, I know you're going to talk about She-Hulk now. Is the leader the boss in She-Hulk eventually, right? Who's the boss of that gang? So,
right.
Yeah. All they got to do is just drop that the boss is Mr. Blue, and everybody who's seen the Incredible Hulk, all 5 of us are going to lose our freaking minds because
the box office correlates, by the way, to the 5. Yep, that adds up.
David, before we get out of here and we let you go do your thing, which is Thursday Night Football preparations, what are your general thoughts on this week's episode of She-Hulk? Because if you're not aware, he's not been a big fan of the show as a structure and the plot of it all. Yeah. So I'll plug that now as well. So on the direct podcast, you can hear my more full thoughts on this. It should be like just up. If you're listening live, it should be like just posted. Listen, after you watch the show tonight, listen tomorrow. Me and Matt Remke, the direct podcast, everything you need to know about the universes you love for the direct.com. And on She-Hulk, yes, I have not been the biggest fan. I dive into my thoughts more on there. This episode to me fell flat. However, I did think there was some strong character development with Jen specifically, which I had been missing and wanting. But this episode for me, there's something that I can't grip onto about it. It's missing some heart that I think Miss Marvel was full of. It was just full of heart and soul, man. Like, I just that coming of age story. This is not that. This is a comedy / Hulk / weekly case by case network television law show. And it may not be my cup of tea, but I definitely see the good in it. There's one character introduced that I love him. He is the best. I hope he's back in several other incredible MCU shows moving forward. And those are my general thoughts. So it wasn't my favorite. I'll be honest. What's that?
Tell us who it is.
Nick. Or Luke. What was his name? Nick?
Luke.
It's Luke?
Luke.
Yeah. Some general name. Why was it such a basic name? I wanted it to be like a more fun.
You're right.
name.
I didn't even remember his name until this very moment when Thomas said
Some
it. Yeah.
4-letter name. Nick, I'm calling him. Yeah, Luke.
Most of the guys in this show have pretty not memorable names.
Is that Pug? Pug's got a
Except
great
Pug.
name.
Pug is the best.
I will say Pug and Nikki in this episode kind of carried on their
Nikki
journey.
definitely carried this episode. She was
Yeah.
the bomb in this one.
Missed Madison. Didn't love Titania. Not gonna lie. Sorry.
It's okay, you're not
But
supposed to.
yes, Nick/Luke. Loved him. He is awesome.
David,
That's awesome. Nick,
brother, thank you for coming back. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's Nick/Luke. Thanks for coming back on, man. Before you go, we got like 40. We'll hold you for 44 seconds while somebody says hi. But thank you again for coming on. I know, man, it's crazy, dude. We made it to 100 episodes.
I know.
That are numbered because we definitely hit it like 20 episodes ago.
Yeah, that's
had.
you know, that is very. I had that thought earlier today. I'm like, there's definitely more, but like, you know, 100 base episodes, right? 100. Welcome to LightsThunderAction. Let's talk about what the news, right? Like, let's get into. Let's dive into it all. Have 2 sections. So yeah, thanks guys so much for having me on. I'm so happy to be back. You know, anytime, let me know. I know you guys are changing the scheme of things, but I think that's a really fun idea of a little more holistic, right? And I love doing that, right? I love looking back on something in its entirety, and that's a frustration of mine, kind of with Disney Plus a little. Is like, especially with a show like this, just drip by drip by drip by drip, right? And there's so much to talk about as fans, but in a way, you don't really know what's really going on and how good the show honestly really is until the whole thing's out. Because there's so many times I've watched these Disney Plus shows where I'm here, I'm there, I'm not sure how I feel about it, and then by the end, okay, I really enjoyed that, or that didn't hit as well for me. But it takes so much time to get there. So congrats, guys, 100 episodes. Keep watching. I am so happy to be back, and I'm so happy that you guys had me on. Thank you.
Of course, brother. We love you. And without further ado, we'll let somebody say hello there.
Lights, Thunder, Action. Congratulations on 100 episodes. What an amazing milestone for the 2 best 3-name men in the business. That's Thomas Carter Rochester and John Ross Bradford, baby. Of course, another major shout out goes out to David Thompson, an integral piece of the LTA family from the beginning stages. Guys, it has been an absolute honor and privilege to guest on a couple episodes in the past, but it's been an even bigger honor and privilege to get to know you both personally and to call you guys friends. You are professionals down to the core. You deliver the information in a nice, digestible way while also imbuing it with your own unique energy and passion, and that's what makes this whole media landscape go round at the end of the day. Cheers to 100. Celebrate appropriately.
Join author Gary Zeiger for an animatic short film based on his breakaway Stingray novel series. Watch this animatic short based on the novel Stingray, You Can't Hide Forever at stingrayseries.com. In Stingray, You Can't Hide Forever, Captain Epsilon is putting the band back together to rescue his protege's little sister from the evil conglomerate, while keeping his state-of-the-art warship Stingray out of their hands. Watch as the adventure unfolds in the groundbreaking animatic short at stingrayseries.com. Then, join the crew of Stingray with the next novel in the series, Stingray Prophecy, where Captain Epsilon and Dr. Zubre are pivotal players in an ancient prophecy. Can they reunite the people of 2 worlds before they destroy each other? To learn more, visit stingrayseries.com.
And now a message from our good buddy.
TCR, JRB, my guys, my boys, congratulations on 100 episodes of Lights Thunder Action. You are 2 of the best podcast hosts in the game. It has been my honor, my privilege to be on your pod. I can't believe that you come on my pod. It is one of the best friendships that I have created over this time podcasting in the last couple of years. You guys are incredible at what you do. Keep on doing it. Here is to 100 more amazing episodes.
And we're back. We have survived the ad break.
Tearing up a little bit. Wow, that was really, really nice of them. Liam,
I cried earlier.
Thanks for sending us that video. As soon as you're heading to or coming from the gym, I'd love seeing the gains. Ethan, it's amazing to hear from you too, man. Wow, we got to have both of them on again, huh?
Yeah, I've been from what I've heard, they're having like a height off. They're trying to figure out who's the tallest, which sure, I can't compete in that game because I'm under 6 foot. Unfortunate for me. Again, if you missed the soiree at the beginning, that's not the word I went for, but whatever. We'll get to 100 episodes, but it could be like a couple more 20 years before we do that, because we're going to go from weekly to special event type podcasting and live show where we recap a whole season or we review a movie, and it's going to be a little bit less weekly structured, a little bit more. We're going to talk about the good stuff. We have some more guests coming on in a moment, but also we're going to have some people come on later on in the House of the Dragon season. So I'm not just talking about it by myself, which real fast, episode 4, crazy. If you got turned on during that, you got problems, but I love you anyway for your creepiness.
Now I'm nervous.
I'm watching our guest faces down at the bottom, and they're like, what the hell? Yes. Amazing episode. It goes so far. Shout out Rhaenyra for just doing the damn thing. And what I mean by that is getting rid of, spoiler alert, the Hand of the King. Let's go. But without further ado, I know I just dropped so many spoilers on people who have not seen the show. Without further ado, let's bring in our next guest, fellow tall person to Ethan and Liam there.
Fellow, but not to you.
Klein Felt. Yeah, not to me. I'm short.
Friends.
Hey, there he is.
I would say I'm the tallest of the 3, but I don't know. I haven't met either of them.
So when you go to Philly, now you need to go to Boston so you can find out who's taller between you and Liam.
Yeah, we can have a
Isn't
tall
it between?
off.
Yeah, tall.
He's definitely thicker,
Tall
man. What a specimen. Jeez Louise.
Did you just call him a specimen?
I did.
Jesus Christ. And coming up from She Will Rock You Pod, it is our good friend Leah Jones.
Hello.
Definitely the shortest person on the show right now.
This is awesome. I think, Klein, this is the first time you and I have ever done a podcast together. And Leah, I think the same goes for you and I as well. So 2 out of the 4 people on this screen, I say 2 out of 4 like I couldn't have done it with myself, but I haven't done this with half of you guys. So we're at 100 episodes. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for
I was
having
about to
us.
ask, anything exciting happening or what's going on?
Oh, we're doing it. We haven't had a guest on in, I think we talked to Ethan for the boys, but that might be the only guest we've had on in a couple months at this point.
Yeah. Schedules are crazy. You know what I'm saying? When you work 6 days a week and then 7 days a week, and then it's like, oh yeah, we got to do our podcast today. It turned out to be Monday, and now it's like, oh, it's Thursday. How did that happen?
It's we've been playing catch up for a while, and we've still been able to make it work. But today, we were all over it.
We were like almost like we had to prepare today.
It's been a good time. It's been a fun time getting here.
It has been. We're here to talk She-Hulk though, because our guests also have hard outs. And really quick, jumping to the comments before we jump into She-Hulk, I gotta bring this one up from Beth Ann. I missed that one. Hold on. She's really excited for the unveiling of Bofa. It's gonna take Phase 5 to new levels. I thought she was gonna say both of these nuts, but she didn't. She just said I'd missed the article about it. So what is happening with the MCU and Bofa? What is Bofa?
No, she's just building it up, man. She got you.
I guarantee she's dying right now.
Good. I hope she is.
Here we go.
Good. I thought it was Bank of America because I typed in BOFA MCU and it said Bank of America is in the MCU, and I was like, is that a thing? So here we go. Yeah, Bofa, these nuts.
Nice.
Yeah, I hope you're doing. I hope
lady,
you're
that
coughing
Beth Ann,
now.
I tell you.
I hope you're coughing from just getting over COVID because you're laughing so hard. She says that's what I get for getting the championship belt. Sorry, you picked Air Bud and not Star Wars, nerd.
That was a choice that you made.
It was a choice you made, and Leah voted for me. You know how I know? Because we only met because of Star Wars.
You're not
wrong. David Thompson says, thanks for the love from Liam and Ethan. Klein, obviously, he hasn't seen you in a while, Klein. I saw you last night, you big sexy.
He's abandoned us. He's molding the minds.
The drippiest teacher in the entire Melbourne high school.
That's what I've heard.
Beth Ann is also excited, and she said, as a matter of fact, I'm assuming it's going to be about Air Bud. We're here to talk She-Hulk. Beth Ann, hopefully you've seen She-Hulk, but
She
you've
has
not
not.
because get ready for spoilers, love.
Oh, Beth Ann, it's only 30 minutes long. Let's do this.
She does want to wait and binge it all, and I'm jealous that she has the.
Oh, she hasn't
what's the word?
seen any of it yet?
No,
No.
she wants to binge it, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had the the grit to hold out for 9 weeks.
But
I
it's
don't.
the perfect way to wake up every Thursday.
That's what I said.
It's like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Except it's a Thursday morning,
except
almost
in the middle
cartoon.
of the week.
Yes, she says happy 100 episodes, Frenda. I think she meant friends, but that's okay. We'll pass it off.
Thank you so much for joining us, Beth Ann.
And not the typo. All right, so real fast before we jump into episode 5, I'm glad you got that fucked up joke. Leah Klein, what have your thoughts about She-Hulk through 4 episodes been so far? And we'll start with Leah. Bye, Beth Ann. We love you.
I really like it. I think it's a lot of just TV as a whole has become super heavy and super, you got to think about it and dissect it every week, and it's dark. And this is not it. This is the early 2000s rom-coms of TV right now. Like, there's no thought in it. You don't have to like mentally, emotionally prepare for you to sit down and watch it. You do not know what is coming next. At no point in the show have I guessed anything correctly. And I love that for us.
Klein, what about you? How has She-Hulk been hitting you so far through 5 weeks?
I'm enjoying myself. I wouldn't say it's like blowing me away by any means, but I don't think it's supposed to. I think that this is the Ally McBeal, the Mindy project of the MCU, and that's all it is supposed to be. And the thing I love about it is I could see this going forever. They could give me hundreds of these episodes and just have it be kind of this connective tissue of the MCU for the next 10 years. And I would be okay with that. I'm enjoying that it is just kind of, I don't want to call it empty calories because I feel like that's doing it a disservice, but it's junk food. It's that comfort meal. It's just kind of like, okay, I can sit down. I'm going to have fun for 30 minutes. It's not going to change the universe. It's not going to redefine the MCU. Sure, it might introduce some characters that maybe we'll be excited about down the line when they show up later, i.e. Daredevil or something like that. But they're going to poke fun at kind of the MCU as a whole. And I'm liking it so far. And Tatiana Maslany is just like hilarious. I think she is so funny.
She's great. Yeah, she was the perfect casting for this. But I think you're right. The reason this works so well is because if you accept it for what it is, which is excess of the MCU, it works really well. And the only reason we have this excess is because of the success that the MCU has found so far. Like, this show wouldn't have worked even 2 or 3 years ago, but because we are where we are now, they have the breathing room to tell a story like this while still getting out all the content that's necessary for like the bigger narrative, but now we get to actually have some fun with it. And for the people that say like they don't understand it, like that's okay. Like you said, Leah, you don't have to understand this. Like the reason you're racking your brain so hard is because there's no bigger picture with this. It's a week to week adventure, and
it's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
No.
It's not that deep, girl. And
I don't think it has to be.
It doesn't have to be. You're right. And as soon as I accepted that, around like week 2 or 3, I've enjoyed it way more because I was so used to this Disney Plus format where it's so shrouded in mystery and you don't really have a grasp of it until the later episodes where it gets really emotional. This show isn't really like that. It's meant to be enjoyed week to week in that 30-minute segment. So you're right. It's different, and when it's accepted as different, it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I think that differentiation, that uniqueness of it is actually going to be really important going forward. Like in a DM to actually TCR earlier today, I said, like, I think that this show is going to end up being one of the more important MCU projects in a very long time, simply because it's opening up the pasture creatively for them. It's going to introduce this new era where not everything in the MCU is 100% essential. Sure, the people like us are going to sit there and watch everything and comb through every detail, but maybe they will take it more like a Star Wars, where there are projects within the Star Wars canon that are a little less essential than, say, some of the other ones. So I think that that's really cool that the MCU can be multiple things. It can be the big blockbuster Avenger Endgame things, and it can also be a legal sitcom that, if you want to watch, it's there. Megan Thee Stallion's in it. It's great. but you don't have to.
Right. It's by no means essential, but it is a lot of fun to watch.
You could argue that Loki season 1 was non-essential until, episode 6, right?
Mhm.
It's like, oh, what's the greatest tie? It's literally as far outside of the MCU as we knew it that you could be. It's outside of time. It's outside of the sacred timeline, which we found out was a thing. And then at the very end, it's like, oh, Kang. Oh, this is literally just saying, by the way, Kang is the next villain of the whole shebang.
That's a good point too. Like we have people like the leader lurking, and we've met the Wrecking Crew, and they also are promising pretty heavily that Daredevil's going to play into this story, and it's going to make some sort of sense of his MCU introduction. So like there are things happening in this show that a lot of fans have wanted for a long time. But at the same time, they're doing it in such a lighthearted fashion that like in the grand scheme of things, you can look back on this show and it's not going to hold the same weight that something like WandaVision does, where it factors in so heavily to the main plot of a movie like a sequel to Doctor Strange. She-Hulk is going to have those themes that are referenced later on, but it's probably not going to have the same emotional weight going forward, where they really need to drive it home with those characters.
Absolutely. Speaking of driving it home, let's go ahead and hop into episode 5. The title is the greatest title: Mean, Green, and Straight Poured Into These Jeans.
Also, She-Hulk's match your bio, I believe.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly. We'll get to that. Jesus. The episode starts with, Titania. I almost said Tatiana. That would have been funny. Titania, is suing.
That's so similar.
And She-Hulk is upset. And then, eventually she has to go to court with Mallory Book helping her out. And they work on stopping the lawsuit and obtaining the name She-Hulk for Jen Walters. The B plot is Pug and Nikki are going to go from this point. It starts with shoes, which all I could think about was JRB because he was
Gotta
very
get those
adamant
Iron Man
about,
3s, man.
Gotta get
Yo,
them. He was very adamant.
For real?
Is he wearing
Not
them?
joking. I'm wearing my Jordan 3s right now for this very reason, because when he said I got to get the Iron Man 3s, anyone who knows me knows I got this whole arm covered in Iron Man right now. And my favorite shoe, the shoe that my little avatar is wearing in the corner of that screen there, is the Jordan 3. So when he said Iron Man 3, I was like,
I love
Pug
that.
is me. I have a drip bunker. I'm Pug.
is me.
I love what's he say? He's got, I got to get 2 pairs, one to cop and one to
one to rock and one to stock.
Yeah, there we go.
One
One
to
to rock
stock.
and one to
He knows
stop.
how it goes.
And it's just
Pug is
like the
tapped
look on
in,
his
man.
face, man. He's like, yeah. It's wait, so you buy one that you don't even wear and just look at, and he goes,
Yeah, he was one Stock X reference away from like being a little too real.
Right, exactly. Like that is one of the most relatable, like modern references this show has had so far, because how many teenagers heard that and go, oh, I know a guy that resells sneakers. Like that is a very real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really? I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
Thomas.
I didn't buy these from Nike, bro.
I know a guy who, I guess I knew people who did that when I worked at Dick's, but they mostly bought PS5s and sold them at double the market value. So
Yeah, same idea.
cool.
Not
Did you
quite
buy
that
them for
expensive,
double the
most-
market value or just?
We don't need to talk about that.
Well, if only you were a lawyer named Pug, you could afford it without issue. But hey, man.
Oh man, he
Priorities.
came for my sensibility and my income. All right,
Hey,
we
apparently
digress.
they aren't paying these lawyers all that much there. She notes that she
The
doesn't make
medium
the big
bucks.
bucks. She makes the
yes.
medium bucks.
The medium.
Yeah, and
bucks,
I think Nikki said something about her being broke too in either this episode or
She's-
last. So
You guys are Los
this
Angeles
episode, yeah,
lawyers. Come
paralegal.
on.
yeah, it's interesting that they're
State
bringing
income
attention
tax.
to they're only making like a mediocre salary when he has them at the very front of this new division. So maybe that'll factor in later too.
Maybe it's because they're women.
I was gonna say that.
Ooh, that's right, because Pug is able to afford 2 pairs of these shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Interesting.
exactly.
I like
So-
where you're going with that.
The shoe and the drip broker lead to getting Jen
drip
and
broker.
She-Hulk.
The drip.
I love it. dude.
I'm sorry.
Drip broker. It's such a good name, They are that leads to the superhero fashion broker, I guess, who creates all these suits for superheroes and superpowered folks. Eventually, that's where it leads to, so that Jen can get her suit. I kind of recapped the whole thing, except for, like a couple of very important character beats along the way, including the Avengers.
Yes.
Which Leah sent me while we were going live. She's like, I want this. And it's just an Avengers t-shirt.
I need it more than anything. Like, if
I love
there's
the
not...
knockoff heroes too.
Thor
Like the
holding a shovel was my
Yeah.
favorite part.
I love.
Why does
I
the
love
Hulk
it.
have a mustache? Like,
Why not?
Hulk.
I want that towel that's hanging in the little wardrobe when he opens it up. It's got the Hulk with a mustache and like a wrestling onesie.
Yeah, that was so bizarre. It was like Luchador Hulk because it was really weird.
I want it. If it's not on Etsy tomorrow, I'm gonna be very mad.
Oh my God! You know who that was? That was Stanley Hulk.
Oh, I love that actually.
I love that.
Oh, they worked a Stan Lee reference into the last one too. Oh, I like that they're doing that.
I really love that Thor is Thur, as in Thursday. That's fantastic.
Thur.
As in, yeah, I like that. It's a good one. And he's carrying around a knockoff Captain America shield, and then he's got a genuine Thor hammer. Like,
yeah,
I
that's
have that
the real.
exact.
That's the
prop,
real
just-
Legends one.
It's sprayed a little white. No, it's the costume one. They have the rivet at the bottom. I'll break mine out and show you.
They actually took it from their own prop set.
Exactly.
They walked it across the hall.
They got it from a Ruby's costume situation because it's all they did was spray paint it brighter gray.
No way.
I'm telling you, I have a lot of them.
No wonder it
reasons.
looks so legit. I was like, that's for sure the replica one. No,
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah, it's the costume prop. So I got 5 bullet points here, really, and they're pretty short. I love that for Jen and She-Hulk, she continues to say that she's over Titania stealing her name, but the denial is so strong. And that is what I've learned is her character arc this whole season, is overcoming her denial. It's in every single episode in some form or fashion. And this one, it's just over Titania. And then she goes on to mention that, can always count on me to throw myself under the bus, which is exactly why I love her. That's why I connect with her. I am under the bus. I was born under the bus.
Yeah, she keeps saying things like, this just happened to me. It's not who I am. And she's like having a hard time taking ownership of this thing. And you're right. It's a theme that's presented itself in a very unique way throughout each episode. I really liked how it presented itself here.
Very much so. Very much so. What about you, Leah? What are you vibing with when it comes to She-Hulk's situation this episode?
That's such a good question. What are you vibing with today?
That's a big question.
When you watch She-Hulk, it like the vibe that it gives is literally different for everyone, even though it's a comedy. Isn't that so interesting?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but like
Okay.
the fact that you're asking that question, it really is a fair question because this show is hitting everyone so uniquely.
like
And
a
like even the
Rorschach
Megan
test.
Thee Stallion like post-credit scene is like dividing everybody. So Leah, go ahead, continue. This show, how are you vibing with it? How does it make you feel?
I vibed with this episode 'cause she's really coming into her identity that was kind of thrust upon her, that she didn't choose in any of it. She didn't choose to become a superhero, much less her stupid name of She-Hulk. But through the legal case that we see, like she's, whether she likes it or not, she's stuck with it, and I think she's become really fond of her identity as She-Hulk. But also it's giving her this kind of weird double life that she's really trying hard not to have, like all the other superheroes, but she has to have because no one really likes Jen as much as she wants them to like Jen, and it makes me really sad actually. But I think women always kind of feel like that like no one likes our natural selves, so we got to put on this front, and in her case she gets to put on a superhero front to make people like us. And even down to the moment where she and Book are in the bar and she's like, I'm so glad we're friends, and Book's just like, yeah, no, we're not, sorry.
Thanks for the drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I just say that
Goodbye.
out loud?
Yeah.
Klein, what about you?
Jinx?
I mean, I'm kind of feeling the same way as Leah a little bit. Like, I think that it's very interesting the predicament that they're kind of putting her in and giving her internally, where like this is a superhero who we've seen superheroes who don't want it, but this is one who like actively hates it and actively is like, just can this thing go away? Like, I'm not, when she walks into the costuming place and he's like, oh, what kind of superhero are you? And she's like, I'm just a lawyer. And like she is so against anything that comes with being what we've come to know and love in the MCU that I really like that conflict. And you see it at the end when she is bringing up all these, not ex-boyfriends, these dates, these partners going up on the stand, and like you have them all basically going like, yeah, we love She-Hulk, and then like, but that Jen girl, don't know about her. And I really like that internal conflict. It is dealing with a little bit heavier stuff than I thought we would get in this kind of hunky-dory comedy, and I'm really interested to see how much further they go with that, because she is, I think, starting to see that, okay, like maybe I'm not accepting this, but I'm coming to terms with it. Like there's nothing I can do. This isn't going away.
I loved in that scene specifically how she's like, she mentions to Nikki, like, those are all corroborating witnesses that will win me this case. And it's like, oh yeah, that's going to suck. And it's like, oh, so you're really going to parade them in front of me? That's going to be embarrassing. Yeah. And then it just cuts right to it. And you're watching her, and as they do the title of the episode is straight from the bio, as we said, mean, green, and straight poured into these jeans. And what she's looking for in a partner is a strong back and a king size bed.
And everyone is that one.
Yeah, and everyone is just like, ooh. And as these guys come up, I mean, David Otunga again, she's like, yeah, what's up? I'm the She-Hulk, the real She-Hulk, no big deal. And he's like, oh, she felt like a tryhard. I'm not really into that. And then she's just like, okay. From the guy who said he squats 600 and he doesn't even have superpowers. Fucking dick. And as they each go up, she's just like, can I disappear? And then there was one moment where they say something and they look back at her and she's like, I'm okay. I'm like, that's me. I feel that. Like, it's the most
Jen that we've seen She-Hulk. Like, it's funny because we usually, when she is She-Hulk, she's presenting as like super powerful and kind of like on top of things, even though she internally, we know as the audience, isn't. But like in that scene, it is the most Jen that we've seen this character, where she is literally sinking into this suit that fits She-Hulk perfectly, but usually Jen is swimming in. But you're getting a mix of that character in that moment where it does look like she's shrinking, but she's really just like slinking back going, can I get out of here, please?
Yeah. And then we end with Pretty Doctor Face, who, last week we were confused, like, why did he just leave? Like, is he only
Leah's shaking her head already?
And then he's like,
he's such an asshole.
And then he's just like, yeah, Jen's not really my type, but She-Hulk, yeah, She-Hulk is. And I'm like,
and what was the look she gave him at the end? What, like, I'm
it almost looked like she gave him like some sort of understanding, like, it's okay that you're acting this way. And I didn't vibe with that. I didn't like how they had this understanding at the end.
I thought it was a thank you for explaining yourself, but thank you for leaving, is what I took that smile as.
Okay. See, I got it as more of a okay, we have an agreement. Like, I will show up green and everything is fine.
She's gonna call him later.
Yeah, right. She's like, it still is an outlet for her when she's She-Hulk. Like, the dude is infatuated with the idea of She-Hulk. So like, that door could still be a little open, and she might end up falling back into that and regret it later.
Don't do it, girl.
As someone who definitely has people chase him as Thor, but not as Thomas, don't do it, girl.
It kind of relates to the comics a little more, because you guys are all talking about how much she likes being She-Hulk compared to Jen. There is a comic run where she like refuses to turn back into Jen and face her human responsibilities. She's like, I love being an Avenger. I only want to live at the Avengers Tower. And they end up kicking her out because they're like, you're being so irresponsible with your life. You have to figure out how to be a regular human again. And it would be cool if somehow over these next 4 episodes, we see kind of like a mini version of that spiral that she goes into, where she has to realize, oh, I do need to find a balance here because I'm being She-Hulk for all the wrong reasons. It kind of seems like that might be what they're positioning.
Have you read a lot of the She-Hulk or any She-Hulk really, JRB?
A few of them, yeah. I'm
that's
certainly not.
I haven't touched, but apparently, like, this is super faithful to it. Like this is.
It
not
really does give like Dan Slott vibes.
That tone is perfect.
Yeah, it works really well with like. That's one thing that you really haven't seen is like the comic fans of She-Hulk. I don't think I've seen complaining about this because the people who do like the She-Hulk comic lines,
because they're nailing it.
They are nailing it. Like, this is the tone that those comics carry. Like, it's modernized and has modern references, but it is the exact same tone. So like, the people upset with it are the people that didn't get it anyway. But yeah, and you're right. I like how much they're aligning with what we already know.
So let's go ahead and I guess jump into the B plot, which turns back into the A plot, because she gets her name. She gets her name back. She wins because all the dickhead douches show up
Fighting for something she didn't even want.
Yeah, not originally, but like she said, it grew on her.
Do you think she gets all the copyrights to all these like brand deals along with her name? Do you think she's get like the booty? What is it, booty filler juice or whatever? Like, does
we saw that piece of art
well?
at the end of Holloway trying it.
Holloway, yeah. That's no, they've got to be recalled.
That's right. Yeah, they said everything has to be recalled immediately. Yeah. Wonder if she'll win any
sucks
sort of...
for Ched.
Yeah, Ched's reselling out of his van.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wait,
he's explaining trademarks to her, and she just screams into a pillow. That was
that was the most mansplaining scene. That is exactly what it feels like.
Man, Tatiana plays it so well because she doesn't get mad. She's just like so internally just irritated. Like, she doesn't fly off the handle at anyone. She's just like, I'm so tired of this, and like, just seeing her just combust internally is so hilarious, especially when it's into a pillow.
We're always angry.
Nice. Leah Hulk Jones. Hulk Leah Jones.
That's awesome. That's great.
Hulk Leah. That's it. That's your new name. Monica forever.
I like it.
Not Lee Hulk?
Lee Hulk. That's perfect. No, that works. That works. Don't let Thomas fool you. That's a good one.
Does it? I don't know. Agree to disagree. I have the power to kick you all out. No, I'm just JRB has the power to bring you all back. So it's a good balance we have here. That Tinder date section is so cringe. And that's kind of my favorite part of this in terms of Jin, because that's who this is. Wonderful. Because like, as David was mentioning, this was the most character development we've had for her, which I agree with. I've been in just because of how she's presented to us. Tatiana Maslany is adorable, and weird thing, her teeth, something about her teeth that I just love. Like, her canines are a little
smile
bit longer.
is so charming.
Yeah. And
she's adorable.
She's so adorable. Like, when she walks in and everyone's like, no, you just got to walk in like we have confidence. And she's like, oh God, like, let me pass over. Oh my God. And she walks right in and everyone's like wearing all these clothes. And I'm like, she's wearing just like something normal. And it's like, oh, little child, please, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, is it weird that I like her clothes more than everybody else's clothes in this whole place? She's wearing just like shorts and a shirt. And I'm like, that's it. That's a vibe right there.
She's so real. Yeah, she's very down to earth.
Authentic, very like it doesn't feel like she's acting. It's just kind of like, I think this is her.
Yeah, that's a good point. It does seem so natural that it doesn't even seem like acting for a moment. Like, even the way she breaks the fourth wall and talks to us so naturally, it doesn't feel like there's a lens there. It really does feel like she's talking to you.
Yeah, it feels like the cameras aren't rolling and she's just reaching out to you.
Yeah, like you're there. She's very, very personal with it, and her craft she's refined it to a level that's very, very impressive.
I need to watch Orphan Black because she plays like 14 characters in that show, and
some great Canadian television.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Klein with the Canadian love. How
good old Canadian kid Klein.
Second cousin directed a few episodes of that show, so.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I got a Tatiana connection. I'll reach out, see what I can do.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I appreciate that, buddy. We'll get you on for the interview. I'll let you replace me for that because I don't interview. I just stand like they're right here, just like Chris Farley in that when he interviews Paul McCartney.
Remember when
you were in that show? That was awesome.
Remember you did the thing with the guy and the stuff,
and then you wore the suit and you twerked. Like, that was awesome. Back to the AB plot. Pug and Nikki again get the superhero clothing situation on, and they finally go meet Luke, Nikki, and She-Hulk / Jin, and that's where the fun interaction is. You're wasting my time and my talent. Go out of here. And it's like, wait a minute. She needs a suit that is not just any suit. It needs to change with her body. Show him. And I love she's just like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I gotta change in front of this guy. Shrinks down. Look, yep, impish, small, childish. Now go back. Yep. And superhero, super body. And it's like, have you ever worked on a Hulk before? Again, Nikki, killing it. Love Nikki. Nikki might be over Madison for me. And I know that's saying a lot in the world, but I just love how she just
Nikki's
lands
great.
these same jokes.
She's
every
hilarious.
week.
And this Luke guy is like the MCU version of Edna from The Incredibles.
I was gonna say that.
Like like even the part with the intercom where he's like, "Go away!" Like that's literally a scene from The Incredibles.
Yes.
Like
when they're
it's
dancing.
insane.
I can see you dancing.
I can still see you.
I can still see you.
Thank you, sir.
That was my favorite scene of Nikki in this show, was just how she handled that whole interaction.
Yeah.
She's such a delight to watch.
Absolutely. Anyways, we were talking about that fourth wall break, and it's so great because my favorite one of this episode is when it's like, I thought, Mallory, I can't believe we're friends now. Did I just say that out loud? I just said that. And then it's like,
I thought you were
can
gonna
do
start
better,
dressing
Jim.
better.
Yeah, I guess you were gonna start dressing better. Oh yeah, my clothes. And just instant
was
cut.
the
I was like,
best.
oh yeah, her
That was a
clothes.
good
I forgot about
transition.
that. Goes right on in. Luke gives her. Okay, one quick annoyance that I had. Luke gives her a suit jacket, and if you listen, you hear a zipper undone like it's a garment bag.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't opening a garment bag. She didn't have one. It's confusing. It's annoying me. It's a little sound thing that I noticed each time, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. But then,
But
he
also,
gives
why
her
did he just give her a jacket and not pants? She bought a suit, not a jacket.
to be fair, I think there were pants. If I
Like
had
hanging over the hanger.
hanging.
Yeah.
in the
Pants are
hanger.
usually hanging inside the jacket. Yeah,
I don't know why they do that. I'm gonna be honest. It wrinkles.
It's
them.
It makes
efficient.
it, makes
Yeah.
it compact.
It's efficient.
Yeah, it's efficiency.
Doesn't
Come
make
on.
sense.
One hanger, hang it all.
Good for traveling.
I even
definitely
put my dress shirt on over the pants sometimes. So then you have
That's
then you
efficient.
have dress shirt, pants, and suit jacket all in one.
That's perfect.
I keep
Just
the
hang the
clippy
tie
pants.
there, and you're good to go. You
The
clip the
clippy
pants. You do the
hangers,
clippies.
I gotta clip I gotta do it. I can't do it any other way. It's really annoying to my OCD for some reason. Because if they have one wrinkle, it's ruined. The whole fit's ruined, man.
This was the detail in She-Hulk that Thomas couldn't tolerate.
I could not tolerate a zipper when there was no zipper to be zipped.
You don't know. Maybe it had zipper pockets on the suit jacket. You have no
Yeah, we
idea.
don't know the type of technology he worked into this fabric.
Okay, that was a really long zip for a pocket. All right.
Maybe it's a big pocket. I
She's
don't
also
know.
8 feet tall.
They're Hulk-sized pockets, okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shit, you got me on that. The garment bag, he gives her a garment bag, and she's like, when am I ever going to wear this? My question, is it her super suit, or is it that big, shiny silver dress? Because she mentions, I don't think I'll ever have an occasion. Just thank me, Jennifer.
I think it's the dress.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Because
right off the
she
bat.
doesn't own anything fancy. She's only making medium bucks, okay? She does not have black tie affair.
That's a good point. Klein, what do you think?
I mean, I didn't think about the dress until you just brought it up. Like I was like, oh, it's the super suit. But yeah, I guess we've seen
me
this
neither.
dress in the trailers, and you guys are
makes
making
sense.
a lot of good points.
She's worn a few dresses in the trailers. There's that sundress she has on too that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
So she is going to have a couple wardrobe changes.
She's gonna go to JCPenney a couple times, pick up some nice. Some
I
nice
don't know.
fits.
That would be a cool misdirect because this is a guy who literally makes super suits. So it would be pretty obvious if this is the guy that gives her the suit that
What
she
if this
ends
is
up
like a
using,
super
but-
suit dress? Like, what if this dress has like,
Yeah, what if
I
it's,
don't
like,
know, some
bulletproof
super
or something,
capable
like-
abilities, bulletproof, fireproof.
Yeah, that
I
would
don't
be
know.
interesting. Each little shiny shingle is like a flare or something. Like that's probably a little extent or extreme. but
Or weapons.
weapons.
Because
He
then
did
she
say
can
a
just
lot about
Hulk throw,
weaponry.
Hulk throw, Hulk throw, Hulk throw, Hulk throw.
True.
Like weaponized sequins? Is that what you're talking
Yes.
about?
Yep.
Yeah, that
Exactly.
would be crazy.
I support
It
this.
does seem like the superhero suit that she has will actually probably come from Bruce because it looks so much like his Endgame suit.
Yeah, it looks
So-
so Avengers.
Yeah, like it
Weird.
doesn't seem like something that this guy would make because the Avengers, as far as we know, haven't been going to him. It was all Tony.
Yes. However, he's seen the Hulk. He knows cousin by blood. Ooh, okay. I can take some inspiration from that.
It was a
And
great
instead
pun,
of-
by the way.
Yeah.
By blood.
Yeah, literally
I
by blood. By blood. That's how the series started.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I was like, what am
It
missing
took Thomas
here?
a second. Yeah.
Right over.
Yeah, I was
Thomas.
like, yeah, they're cousins by blood. And
Yeah,
I
it's
caught it,
literal.
Literally by blood.
literally by blood. Twice.
Nice
technically.
job catching that.
Yeah, I caught in the moment. I'm like, oh, nice, because she healed his ass. Cool. And
Yeah.
then I was when you guys brought it up, I
Make a good point,
Anyways,
though.
back to
Obviously,
the,
Hulk was very public as a hero leading up to Endgame. Like
Yes.
he had a public career as the Hulk again. So
Mhm.
like it would make
Notably
sense if he
destroyed a couple like African cities.
Yes, there's also that. But when he became Smart Hulk and he had that purple getup, like there was a deleted scene from Endgame where he like saved some people from a burning building. So like he is still doing superhero stuff that the public sees, and he could totally just pull it from that. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking, because as the episode ends, we see not only Daredevil's helm, golden helm, we see his vest hanging out right there next to it. So it's like, all right, they teed up Titania last week and went right on into it. So now it seems they're teeing up Daredevil for next week because he's coming to pick up his new suit. So if he's picking up his suit there, then she has to get her suit elsewhere, especially if they're in the same episode next week together. That brings me to this question. Is Daredevil in next week's episode? What do you think? We'll start with Klein.
I will say he is, and only next week's episode.
Ooh, okay.
Intrigue.
Because that's what the streets are saying, that he's only in one episode. And I think they're gonna do some really cool, like, I think not romantic banter, but like flirty banter between the two of them, because he can't see who Jen or She-Hulk is. He just knows Jen.
Yep.
That's a good point. It's been all about the looks lately, and now we're meeting a guy who isn't able to see the looks.
It's all about the voice, which I
which is the constant factor between the two. You're right. Her voice doesn't change. So he can't even technically tell when she turns into She-Hulk unless he's somehow tapping into her vitals, really.
Yeah.
I mean, which we know.
Well,
he can
using
hear the
sonar,
heartbeat,
doesn't
so.
he? Can't he kind of see with? I haven't watched.
Yeah, I'm
it,
sure
but-
like he could like figure it out, but like there probably will be a cool moment where he won't be able to recognize which form she's in, or he won't be able to understand that like the Hulk changing is such a drastic thing for her. I think that's probably going to be something she'll have to explain a little more. And then he'll have to relate to her in that sense where they both kind of have something that's keeping them from being normal. So I think they will be able to relate on a level that will be really interesting and unique for that dynamic. It'll be cool regardless to see Daredevil, but how She-Hulk responds to another superhero is going to be really, really cool to see, because she's actually establishing a superhero career now, you know?
Well, she's working on it. Leah, what do you
she's
think about
doing
the
it.
Daredevil?
You know she's doing it.
She's done one fight.
I think he'll be in next week, but as the opposing lawyer in whatever case we got going on.
Ooh, I like
Intrigue.
that. Interesting.
That
So
would be fun.
that would actually be really
It would make
cool.
sense why he'd only be there for 1 week, because
Yeah,
Right.
New-
Yeah,
new
because
week, new
every week
case.
we've had a new case. Yeah.
that does make sense. And again, they've teed it up that he's going to be there for his suit, so it would,
wow.
I
That
can't
makes
just
so
go to
much
LA.
sense, yeah.
I can't just go to LA for my suit. I got to go there for work.
case.
Winky, winky. And then it's like, oh, Jennifer Walters. Oh, I've heard all about you. Let's go grab a
I
drink.
like that. Because that would explain why they're investigating the same scenes, but they don't seem like they're together. Why that rooftop scene where he jumps down and they sort of meet each other, they might be following the same lead and they're trying to beat each other to some sort of evidence. That would be such a cool spin on what they've been doing with She-Hulk so far.
That would be. That would be. Anything else anyone wants to say about She-Hulk pre-credits? Because I have one major thing for the credits itself.
Take that as a no.
Lot-
No,
lot
I
of
don't think
thinking
so.
faces.
There was like one scene that I really loved, that it was just a little tiny piece of dialogue that made me laugh so hard. And it was when she walks into her boss's office and says, "How's everything going?" Or is everything all right? And he goes, "No." I just laughed so hard. I'm like, yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
There are those instances that definitely catch you off guard.
I
in
also
this
laugh
episode.
so hard every time just normal Jennifer Walters is wearing the Hulk suit.
Yes.
Like when she's walking around like a 7-year-old wearing her dad's clothes. Like I love it so much.
Oh, it's great.
What about you, Leah? What is a scene or moment that you love from this week?
I also like her in the suit just because it's relatable. That's how I feel in a suit. So
It's like she's in her jammies.
it's just everything's
hilarious.
too big. Nothing fits right.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see her in some clothes that actually fit her in the back half of the series.
Did anyone else note there's a fun little Easter egg, and I'm like almost 100% sure that it was there. At the very beginning, she's wearing like little like pajama shorts, and they're purple. Who wears purple shorts? The Hulk.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I did miss that. I definitely missed
And
that.
she's her pillow that she screams into is green, is it not?
Whoa.
Oh, even better. There we go.
Guess I
how
gotta
the-
watch it again.
I thought it was gray, but
I don't know. I don't remember.
The
The
opening
bowl
that
was
says
green.
She-Hulk by Titania is hilarious too, by the way.
Oh my God,
I like how
yes.
like there's a variant of the opening each week.
And I love the Titaniacs. Like that's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, she
Hey,
has this, like, mini cult.
Titaniacs. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
is she the Kim Kardashian of the MCU?
Basically, yeah.
Interesting.
She is.
Yeah, it feels like it. I love the moment where it's like, this is the woman that beat you to
Yeah.
copywriting
Right.
your name.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Multiple
didn't
people
think
are
about
like,
it.
how did she beat you to this? And they're like, I just didn't think of it. And that her insecurity is brought out in like a new sense in this one because she has to admit she was bested by someone like Titania. And you're right, she's kind of still in denial about it up until the end.
Very much. So speaking of the end, as we know, the credits have amazing courtroom style art and this week, man, this week has peak. All right, peak. I don't think it's ever going to get better than this. And I know that's going to be wild for someone to hear, but I'm saying it and I'm living by it. It is the shoe collection of
There it
one
is.
Pugathan. That's his nickname in my head. It's Pugathan. I know. That's not at all what I'm trying to do. Why won't you work, technology?
Don't
Why
worry,
is-
I got you.
That's good enough.
Thank you. It's not good enough, Leah, because as we've all, as it's mentioned, this is like Cyclops. There we go. The question I have for you, JRB, is it the exact photo? Nope, it's not the exact photo I needed. That's okay, though. I love you.
Don't worry. I got the other one you need. I got the other one.
I got the magic you need. Every time I open my Gmail, you see. It's not. Damn it. Oh my God, where's it at?
Give me just a sec. I'm pulling
I have
it up.
another one that I'm trying to find in my email, but it's not popping up.
I got you.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There it is. There it is. Okay, not the one I wanted either, but that works.
Wow. So hard to impress this TCR man.
Oh man, this is tough.
It's because there's one that's hidden like very high up, and it's not seen until right before it changes, and it slowly
Okay.
colors it in. It's got Jubilee colors. It is pink, blue, and yellow over a white
Jubilee.
shoe. Yeah, with a spade. Oh my God, I'm a liar, kids. I had it loaded the whole time.
Nice. Right up there. Right up at the very
there.
top.
Yeah, right up at the very top, above
Where
the
are we
Hulk
looking?
shoe.
Above
Very
the Hulk
top
shoe.
to the left of Hawkeye.
Oh, okay.
And if you watch it on your TV and you pause it at that moment, it's got a spade, it looks like. So I'm like, is that Gambit? Is that Jubilee? I can't think of any other hero
like
that it
that.
could be, or any other character. Now, above the Iron Man is the Nova. To the left of that is Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah.
Up one and over left one is Juggernaut. Cannot figure out what's behind his head, but it very much reminds me of one of those Jordan shoes that you were talking so lovely about, sir. And I can't.
It looks
figure out
like
the
a
color
variation
scheme.
of the Thing.
Yeah, it looks
the
it's
Thing
almost
shows up.
reverse.
Yeah, it looks like he shows up a couple times in this one. But yeah, they have a ton of characters on here. You see like Falcon and Namor and Doctor Doom and Deadpool, and there's a ton.
And Wolverine, Cable, Cyclops, Namor, Electro,
Love
a Spider-Man right there underneath Captain Marvel, but in Ben Riley's colors
Yes.
for the
Yeah,
Scarlet
Scarlet
Spider.
Spider.
Von Doom, America Chavez, the Silver Surfer potentially underneath Deadpool, Thor underneath that. Of course, they're ugly. Why are they always giving me my favorite character in ugly attire? Whatever. I'm not going to complain. Question for the crowd here. Who the fuck is above Nova? And to the left of Hulk and the right of
that's
Strange?
Falcon. That is Comic Falcon.
Oh, okay. I could not figure it out.
I had the privilege of editing this article this morning that Russ Milheim wrote for the Direct, and we spent probably about 30 minutes just trying to figure out what each of these shoes were. And
awesome.
I don't think we said anything about the Jubilee one. So after all that, I think you still found one that we missed. There's so much packed into this one picture here. I love how they're teasing these characters that they're saying they're not even going to be using for another couple of years still.
Yeah.
Like we probably won't see most of these characters until closer to the end of phase 6 or even phase 7.
Yeah, which is bonkers, A, and awesome, B.
Yeah.
I guess
the foresight is pretty awesome.
Should have flipped those A and B.
Leah, out of all these sneakers here, do you have a favorite? Are there any that are jumping out to you as something you'd add to your collection?
Well, I fast forwarded through this because I was trying to see if there's a scene, so I totally missed this when I watched the episode.
What the heck? There was no post-credit scene this week.
Yeah,
what was that about?
I was super confused.
I was pretty mad about that because they set the tone for 4 weeks straight that we were getting one every episode, and this would have been the perfect week to do one with Titania. And
I wonder if
or
that
with the shoes, like this as a scene would have been so cool.
I wonder if that Daredevil scene at the very end was a post credit that they like moved over.
You know what? One of the guys at the Direct was saying that, and that would make sense because it definitely felt like one. It doesn't feel like a She-Hulk post-credit scene because those have been super fun and lighthearted, but that scene definitely felt like an MCU post-credit scene. Yeah.
Maybe that's why they did what they did.
They just left it where it was this week.
Yeah, just put it where it was because they're like, it's less about the She-Hulk fun and more about, hey, this is next week, when really they need to be like, this is next week inside of the credits.
That's a good point. We're talking about Pug's shoe closet right now, so they gave us something interesting.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, they did. Again, wish this were a scene, wish those shoes were real, at least in a concept template.
I need those Iron Man 3s, and I need to see what the 2s and the 1s look like too.
They could have commissioned those from those guys on TikTok who make all the custom shoes.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
that would've been so
they
cool.
can do so much. They do like an Adidas partnership with some Marvel stuff, but it's nothing like this.
No, they're never as cool as the customs.
The
It's like, we
Dragon
have
Ball
black
Z.
Adidas and for
Venom.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they did the Miles Morales ones for the Spider-Man game too.
Those are sick though. The
Those are
Miles
pretty
Morales
cool.
Adidas are cool. I love the the Into Spider-Verse Nikes are the coolest.
the origin story Jordan
Yeah.
ones are by far the best Marvel collaboration any shoe company's done. Because it looks just like the original Chicago's. But that's a whole different niche. So
yeah, I was gonna say I would definitely go Dragon Ball Z Adidas collection.
Dragon Ball Z Adidas.
Yeah, if I can tell I'm the only Dragon Ball Z fan on this pod right now.
Kamehameha.
It shows my age. Thank you.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Yeah.
So but I mean they don't make my favorite character ever have good shoes when they do a shoe collab. Like I don't even like the Venoms like you were talking about. They're like, I'm like, all right, cool, Venom. Oh, they look like shit. I'm not paying $75 for that. Sorry, Adidas. You got to do better, love. So I'm a shout out the Boo Adidas. Those are bright pink, obnoxious cloud looking shoes. But that's kind of it. Like that's kind of our show right now. We've wrapped it up. Is there anything other than Daredevil? Oh, I got a question. What do you think? What's your hot take for this season? What do you think is one thing that not anybody else might be thinking of? And JR, but you'll go last because I can tell you have a lot of ideas.
Okay.
Hot take.
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead. Shoot your
Yeah.
shot.
Scar is going to show up, the son of Hulk from Sakaar, and She-Hulk, like it's very specific. Jen Walters and She-Hulk, her blood is going to have to save him from some kind of disease and or cancer. Then it comes back. Saved by the niece. Wait, shit, no, that'd be the other way around. Saved by the aunt.
Saved by the Aunt.
Saved by the Aunt. I can tell
Wow,
everyone is
that's
still
gonna-
thinking.
That's going to take a huge turn then, because that's not at all the vibe I've been getting so
No.
far.
It'll be done with tongue in cheeks. What can I say?
You know, we do still have that weird scene of Jen and Bruce where they're dressed in like this old school attire, and she's looking at the screen and says, you know, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. That was like the first scene they ever showed to promote this show. And I haven't seen it since then. And I don't know if they did it specifically just for promotion or if it's going to be something in here, but there are going to be instances in this show that are going to get pretty weird that we're probably not expecting. So it could definitely go down that alley with the next 4 episodes.
Klein.
So I'm going to say something crazy.
Perfect.
I think we get a Kevin Feige cameo in this show.
That is so fucking meta. I love it.
That would be amazing.
You're in Los Angeles. You're already like poking fun at the whole franchise as a whole. Like that's kind of the idea. And I don't know. I think it could be fun. And I think he plays himself. I think they canonize Kevin Feige within the MCU.
I love
like
that.
they've done Stan Lee in the comics. Yeah.
It's crazy that you say that, because just last summer they did that in Marvel Comics, where they had this huge X-Men event, and none other than Kevin Feige made a cameo appearance in that comic book. And it was like the crossover event, like this X-Men party where like every Marvel character was there. And even Kevin Feige was there kind of lurking in the background, like seeing what was going on. So to see that happen in like a live action format would be even cooler, because we've only seen him like drawn into a situation like that. If we saw him actually interacting with the characters he's created, that would be way, way cooler.
I just think it's a matter of time before it does inevitably happen. And I think that this would be the perfect place to do it, because it's, I think, super low risk in this.
Well, yeah, we've been
series.
doing it with Stan Lee for over 10 years, over almost 20 years with all the Marvel movies he's been in, you know? And I guess, you know, that is a little different, but Kevin Feige is responsible for this. Like, we would not have this if it was not for Kevin Feige.
His name is now on everything. It is now a Kevin Feige production, right? Like, it's not
He's
like
elevated.
he's lurking into the background as the years go on.
Exactly.
He's running the comics game right now. Like, he runs everything Marvel. He's the Marvel man.
He does kind of have a hold on pretty much anything Marvel related. Leah, for She-Hulk, either whether it's the series as a whole or an upcoming episode, do you have any hot expectation that you don't think anyone else is thinking of right now, or are you just in for whatever comes our way?
I'm just going to throw out a crazy prediction that I had an idea of while we're sitting here talking. I think we're going to see Jen at her angriest, because she's never really had a full anger given to the dark side of the Force moment. Like,
oh yeah,
she's always been, except for that very first time where she changed, like she's very much been in control of her emotions and controlled it. So I want to see her just go like blackout angry, save the day, doesn't know how to control herself anymore.
That would be really sweet, because
That's
like
it.
so far
Yeah.
she's had some sort of answer for pretty much everything, and she's
Yeah.
been able to, even if she can't at first, she's been able to get a handle of things and stay in control of it. So that's definitely a theme that's not common for Hulks. So it'll be interesting to see if she ever is going to lose control, because we haven't seen that yet.
I like that you say that, because the only time we've ever heard, like, I don't know what to define it, but when she gets angry and roars, she has her Hulk roar.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't hear that kind of thing from Bruce at any point when he's Smart Hulk until he's fighting Jen, and she pisses him off to the point where he's like, "Rah!" and breaks the bar. I think that's a great point. Maybe that's supposed to be, maybe that's episode 8. You know, that would have been episode 7 leading into that point. Or maybe it's coming out of what was episode 8, which is now episode 1, and that's in episode 9. Like, we'll see. That seems like something. I like that, Leah. That's probably the most realistic one of all.
Yeah, no, that's good. It might not be the level of destroying a small town, but she might lash out and do some damage that the public will actually see her in a negative light for once, because everyone's been more or less acceptive of what She-Hulk is, you know, except for people like Titanium.
Almost.
Yeah,
like,
right. It's like it's almost like this integration for her has been. I know she's had her struggles, but it has been too easy for the most part. Everything that Bruce has been telling her about how difficult it's going to be, she really hasn't seen that yet. and she's just found ways to navigate her normal life while having this inconvenience. And I think that plays back into the denial aspect of it too. Is she is going to have to come to terms with the fact that she can't keep splitting back and forth between these two lives, similar to what we saw in Spider-Man No Way Home. You know, the problem's not, you know, Spider-Man, it's the problem's you trying to live two lives, you know? So maybe we'll see something similar there.
Okay. I like that a lot. You can find this show on Twitter at LTA Podcasting. That is an action verb, ING. Where can everyone find you on social media, Leah?
On Twitter, Leah_Elizabeth J. Instagram, LeahElizabeth.J. Or you can listen to my podcast with Beth Ann at She Will Rock You Podcast.
And you should, because it's
new episode out today on Cyndi Lauper.
Oh, yeah. Girls just want to have fun, you know. Kleino, where can everyone find you on social media?
I'm at the Klein Felt everywhere. That's the word the, KLEINFELT. I also host a Star Wars podcast alongside someone else on this show, Thomas Carter Rochester. Wherever you're listening to this show right now, go look up Reckless Rebellion. We do similar stuff to this, but in the universe of Star Wars. And I have a video game show called Controller Club that please look, listen, review, like, do all the things.
Do all the things. JRB, where can everyone find you on the socials?
You can find me at JRB_direct on Twitter, Instagram, Serialized, Letterbox, pretty much wherever I can write stuff. JRB_direct.
You can find me at TCRochesterACT, TCRochesterACT on all the socials. Really quick, David said what you said, Leah, about, you know, that's our secret. We're always angry. May end up being a line in the show.
It could be.
And I
That
don't
very well could be.
agree. He also said they're going straight up princess and knight freak mode next episode. Sure.
I'm not exactly 100% sure I know what he means by that.
I think he's talking about the dynamic between her and Daredevil.
And obviously, she's the knight and he's the princess.
Yes, it's going to be her picking him up, and it'll be a very much like a Fiona and Shrek situation. By the way, my
Shrek
big
canon in
article
the
for the
MCU.
direct today is that Marvel just confirmed Shrek exists in the MCU. So we have that now too, because
Mike
it
Myers,
was a quick moment.
get him ready
but
for
Titania
Secret
called.
Wars.
Yeah, we might see Shrek show up in Secret Wars now. But
shout out
yeah.
Beth Ann for, you know, drafting Shrek #1 overall on her team.
What was her team? She had Air Bud and Shrek?
And the
Dark Knight trilogy, which
The
she
big
paid $500+ for. And
My
I got
goodness.
Planet of the Apes for $40. Like,
I don't like Planet of the Apes. It gave
Wait,
me nightmares
what?
as a
The
child.
Oh, it gave you nightmare?
With the-
Okay, that's
Yes.
fair. That's fair. If you
It
saw it as a
freaks
child,
me
it can be
out.
traumatizing.
just watch the Matt Reeves ones.
Yeah, the new
The,
ones are
the
great.
modern day. They're
The
really
idea of
good.
sentient monkeys freaks me out.
What
Aren't we
if-
all just sentient
Wait,
monkeys?
what if
Yes.
it's played by? Are we sentient? Definitely
Yeah,
monkeys.
I'd like
Uh,
to
We're
say
in the
I am.
Matrix. It's fine.
What if it's played by? Oh my God! Why
Andy
can't I remember his
Serkis.
name? Thank you. Good God! I just kept remembering all of his character names. Thank you, Andy Serkis. What if
played
it's
by
Snoke?
Smeagol?
Just imagine it's Snoke as Caesar.
That makes it worse.
Oh man, it is worth
Oh.
checking out the Matt Reeves ones. They're so well done, and the CGI is really state of the art
Yeah.
for what
I think
they
that
are.
would make it worse, actually, from what Leah's saying.
I've
It
seen
sounds
the
like it. Yeah.
first new one, and I couldn't get past it.
Oh,
Did not
That's
like
man.
it.
You know,
You
my
didn't-
fiance said the same thing. She just has a hard time with monkeys in general. They just creep her out. So,
I should never meet them.
maybe it's just a monkey thing. I
They're
guess
like
Yeah.
hairy humans.
hairy humans.
I don't
yeah,
dislike monkeys, but in that capacity, I'm just not comfortable with them.
it's too much. Okay.
Yeah, too much. Oh, look at the time. I was gonna bring up the death of Rogue Squadron since we have two very opposing opinions down beneath us. But there's no time. They've got to leave. Guys, gals, and non-binary pals, we've reached the end of the show. As always, there could be no show without the Iron Man variant to my right, world-famous journalist John Ross Bradford, bringing a much-needed eloquence and wit. We could not do it without Leah Jones and the Klein Felt coming to us, helping us celebrate episode 100. 100. Holy shit, kids, we did it. We lived this long. Thank you to Terry McIver.
Guys.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I don't know how we did it. It's been 2.5 years, and I'm surprised we're still going, to be honest. Well, they haven't pulled the rug from us yet, but anytime. Shout out Terry McIver for hanging out in the comments all night long and helping us produce behind the scenes, as well as David Thompson for joining us earlier, hanging out in the comments, and again, producing behind the scenes. Thank you to the HWWS WebTV family for supporting us and carrying us on the network. Most importantly, thank you to our fans that join us weekly, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or listening via Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, or Spotify. We appreciate you spending your time with us.
Please be sure to like, follow, subscribe, drop us a comment, leave us a review, and give us 5 stars, but only if, of course, you think we are worthy.
Worthy. As always, I'm TCR.
I'm JRB.
And I'm Klein Felt.
And I'm Leah.
And this has been episode 100 of Lights, Thunder, Action.
We'll see you next time.